What's up YouTube, MaxLaxStrings here, and welcome to another episode of Lacrosse Stringers Tips. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to string a top string. So the three things you'll need today is a piece of mesh. Today I'll be using a piece of MaxWax mesh, a piece of string for your top string. If you're using string from a stringing kit, choose the piece that's either thickest, or if it's all in one bunch, just take the string and put it in your hand, in your fingertips right here, and stretch it all the way out so it's arm's length, as you can see right here. And that will give you enough string left over to work with and to cut off at the end. So basically the first thing that we want to do is find the end of the mesh that has the little tabs right here. So let's see if this will focus in. So as you can see, this end of the mesh has a little cutoff right here with this 9 or with a 10 diamond row coming up next, and the other side of the mesh starts off with a 10 diamond row and doesn't have those little flaps on the end. So if we want to do a 9 diamond top string, we want to start on this side, and we want to fold it so the side that is smooth, we're folding it on over that side. So if we can focus it in here again, tell the difference between the smooth and rough side. As you can see, this is the smoother side, and then as we flip it over, you see how it's kind of got a rougher look to it because of the way that it's weaved. So you want to fold it over on the smooth side, so we want to go over that first row and fold it over itself so that we have 9 diamonds across the top. So let me fold it over here really quick. And as you can see, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 diamond top strings are the most popular, but people also do 10 diamond top strings. There's really no difference. There's just a little bit of difference based on how you string it through the different holes. But I like 9 diamond the best. So next, what we want to do is pick either side of the string and do a double knot. So basically what you're going to do is put a loop right here and go through it once, come out just like this, and then go back through the same hole again, and then pull it tight close to the top so we don't leave too much extra room, but just enough to where there's enough sticking out a little bit so the knot doesn't come through. Sorry, it's not focusing there. We want to pull that tight, and what we want to do is find, most of the time it'll be the first hole on the head, or the top hole here. We want to feed it through all the way through until the knot catches on that first hole, just like that. I'm starting on the left side, but it really doesn't matter which side you start on. Now what we want to do is the side that is folded over like this, we want to keep that on the outside of the head. That way the ball doesn't get caught in it when we're throwing. And we want to use the very first hole right here, and we want to go up through from the front side to the back side towards yourself. You want to pull it through, so it's just like that. Next, you want to come around and put it through the same sidewall hole that you started in. So you want to put it through that same starting hole, and then go up through that same hole with mesh. And what this is doing is it's pulling this first mesh hole to the side, so now it's tight to the head, and we can start connecting it to the top of the head. Just like that, so it's nice and tight, it's not going to go anywhere while we're trying to string. So most of the time there's going to be 4 big holes across the top, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the very next hole, which will usually line up in the 9 diamond top string, and you want to go through the outside. So you want to go from yourself out and pull it through, and then what you want to do is come up through that next hole that I was just talking about, and you're going to create a little loop right here. You're going to come up through this loop and pull it tight. The thing that I like to do is pull it towards the outside and then back inside, just like that. So let me show you again. Pull it outside and then back inside, and that'll really tighten it. And that's the first part of the knot that we're going to use to tighten down all the holes to the top string. Now the second part to it is pretty much the same thing, just reverse. So we're, instead of going through this through the plastic, we're going to go through the mesh the same way, so out, not towards ourselves. So we're going to pull it through, and we're going to leave a little loop like we did before. And now we're going to go up through towards ourselves and go up through this loop that we left. And pull it tight, and that's going to create this knot right here. So now we're going to skip a mesh hole and go let me bring it a little bit closer. We're going to skip this next hole, and we're going to go to the next mesh hole because it lines up again with that. So basically what you're doing is you're using a mesh hole, you're skipping one, you're using one all the way to the end. So let me explain it again. What you want to do is go out through the plastic to start off with, and leave this little bit of a loop right here. And you're going to skip that mesh hole and go to the next one that lines up with it, and come all the way through, up through this loop that you left, and kind of tighten it so you pull it away and then pull back again to kind of line the mesh up. And if the mesh seems to bunch kind of weird, like this, you see how the mesh kind of bunches up weird? What I like to do is, if that happens, I kind of pull on the mesh, I pull the opposite way, and that kind of straightens it out. That way it kind of evens itself out just like that. And now we go through the mesh instead of through the plastic this time, still leaving a little bit of a loop right here. And then we're going to come up towards ourselves and then tighten down. I like to pull up and then down just like that. Alright, and then it's the same thing for the last two holes. I'll explain this one again, and then I'll just kind of go a little bit faster for the last one. So we go through the plastic right here towards the outside, leaving a loop. We go up through this mesh hole. We skipped another mesh hole like we did for the last one. And we pull left and pull right to tighten it down. And now we go through the mesh and then up through the opposite side of the plastic, going through this loop right here, pulling through and tightening down. Alright, and now we skip another one, and when we do this very last one, let me explain it really quickly. You go out through, leave a hole through the mesh, pull through just like that. Now we go through the mesh, leaving a little bit of a loop right here, up through towards yourself, and bam, just like that. So now we're almost finished. We just have to anchor this last mesh hole to the side, and we're basically going to do the same thing. So what we want to do is go through the mesh first. So you go down through the mesh. It's going to look like this. And then we're going to go from the inside out, pull through just like that on the same hole. Make sure it's the same hole that you started on the opposite side. So now it's the very top hole for this head, for example. And now what we're going to do is kind of loop it through to pull it tight. So now we're going to go down through just like that, and we're going to go through the outside again, so it's going to end up looking like this, and pull tight. And now this knot can be one of the harder ones to do because you want to keep it tight as well as, and then you kind of have to keep it tight, and then you got to do your double knot again. So make sure you pull it really tight, and I like to keep a finger right here, and kind of while I'm tying the knot, that way the knot ends up being tight. This one can take a few times to do, so just be patient with it before you get it right. So you loop it over just like this, go up under, and then you come up under again to do that double knot. And the reason we do a double knot is because on heads nowadays the top holes are very wide because they allow for multiple strings to go through them, which is nice, but we also need to tie bigger knots so the knot doesn't go through. There you have it. This is a regular 9-diamond top string. If you have any questions or get confused, just make sure to watch the beginning of the video where I take it a little bit slower. And be looking out for some more stringer tips videos. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe.